We're just cutting it off, guys. We're just doing it. I may crawl under here a little bit though. Get a little better angle. Well, apparently somebody has been using the gray tank a little more than I expected. That's in my mouth. Good morning, everybody. We don't get to say that very often.
We don't say that very often.
It still takes us a while to get out here because we got to get going out at mom and dad's and make our plan and pack the vehicles and do all that fun stuff. And then we're here. And now we're here.
But hopefully that won't be the case for long.
Yeah. So obviously the next steps, guys. Rob came out in that last video and you guys were awesome in thanking him in the comments and just being so grateful for what he's come out and done for us, and we feel the same way, and I still stay in communication with him, and I'm sure there will be something in the future that we're gonna have to call on his expertise for. So thank you, Rob. Where we are now, however, is just kind of some of the fine tuning, the tweaking of the pressure system. You know, we basically wanted water to flow that day, but I've got to get the pressures right and everything. So today we're gonna do some of those final pieces and some of the important things that we got to do to get out here. Shannon's been training to build that goat shelter. And I need a place for the tractor and the four-wheeler and all the tools and all that stuff. Are you up for that task?
Yeah, I needed to practice first, though. I've never built anything before, so I needed a little bit of practice on a smaller scale.
Never built anything before. What about Legos?
Yeah, but Legos are just clicked and put together.
She lied to you. She's built stuff.
Not with wood.
So, check this out. Shannon has been working on a really sweet, what she calls the shoe shack. I spit out a little idea, she stole the credit, ran with it, found plans, gave the credit to Grandpa. It had nothing to do with my idea at all.
I didn't steal it.
Oh.
I gave you the credit. Kyle said what he wanted, and I went out and found a picture of what it was.
But it's been fantastic. While I was working on this stuff and have continued to work on it and think through kind of the fine tuning and getting the final stages to get the camper out here, which is what Shannon challenged me with a month or so ago. So mission accomplished, almost. But she has been making it so that we will have a good place to put our boots and everything. So look at this and check out her awesome job and let her know what you think down in the comments below.
I thought I would start with a fun little easy project. I'm gonna try to build a little shoe shack, just so that I can try to get an idea as to how to do some of the things I wanna do as far as building, and it not be such a crucial project as, like, I don't know, the goat shed, the thing that's gonna keep them safe and out of the weather and dry and all those things. You know how limited we are on space. It's a little place outside the camper that we can put our boots, keep them dry, keep them out of the weather, and most importantly, keep them out of the camper. I've seen a picture on Pinterest. I have no idea what I'm doing, and I'm just gonna wing it. Try to get everything put together. Part of the problem, I will say, is I have special deck screws that I bought just for projects like this. I don't know where they are. I'm pretty sure it's Kyle's fault. I'm pretty sure he took them, hid them, didn't put them back. I don't know exactly, but I'm sure it's his fault. I'm gonna blame it on him anyway. Okay, so I need to do some thinking about this, planning it out, but this is what I do know. Sugar helps. Do you see which tape measure this is? It's mine, that's right. I've already learned a lesson. Can you see where I marked that? I need to learn where my blade is on this thing. Otherwise, none of my cuts are gonna match up to where they should go. Kyle would have a fit if he were here. Nothing about this is going to be perfect. Literally nothing. And I'm okay with that. Have you ever had one of those moments where you do something and then you're like, that was really dumb? I shortened one of my angled boards that I had already cut for one of the side braces. I cut it. That was not very smart. So I gotta cut another one. I'm starting to realize it's a really good thing that I'm doing a small project before I start on the goat shed, because I'm going to learn a lot from this little project. And I think I'm going to learn how important it is to be exact on measurements. I don't want to tell Kyle that. I don't want him to be right, but I think he's right. I think I'm going to have to be pretty exact on my measurements, but we'll see how this turns out. I'm going to keep going. This may not end up being the most sturdy thing ever, but I have the majority of the structure done. I cut some 18.5-inch boards to put across the side. I'm actually going to try doing the wood burning on it just to kind of give it a little bit of a different look. So we'll see how that turns out, but I'm really excited about it. So what I'm doing is I'm putting the backboards on the structure now, and my pallet was 47 inches. So with the pieces that I put on the sides, because of the way I attach them, it actually makes that whole width 50 inches. And I don't have any boards that big because I'm using all pallet wood and they're all 47 inches. So what I'm doing is taking some boards and cutting them and kind of structuring them in an offset pattern here. So I'll do some 24 inches, some 26 inches, and then kind of offset them. And then hopefully that will make it look like it's not quite so much like pallet wood, but it's still going to, I know.
I'm doing a project over there.
I have a photo bomber.
Sure would hate to ruin your project over here. You know, we're evaluating the level of importance of the projects that we're doing. Pretty much everything Shannon is doing is a 10. Pretty much everything I do is a -4.
That's not true at all. I think it's the exact opposite, actually.
No. Hey, but yours is way cooler. Mine just carries poo.
Mine's fun. I have a fun project.
Mine's dirty, and I'm not using gloves.
Thank you! Then I get to do some wood burning. That has to be my favorite part. I had so much fun yesterday doing all of this wood burning, and I mean, you really can't screw it up. I even let Kyle try it out on a couple pieces because you can't screw it up.
Are we starting a new competition or something?
No, I was just kidding.
I'm stealing.
Just giving you a hard time.
I'm stealing your tools.
You can't take my drill.
All right, see ya.
Hey,
Hey.
bring that drill back. You don't even need a drill. You're doing plumbing.
Yeah.
See that? He's trying to take my drill from me.
Do it.
Thanks. So I'm gonna cut these boards up. Okay guys, check this out. I officially have all the sides on, and I just need to finish out my wood burning on the back and put the top on. I'm super excited about this. Check it out. That's the side I've already wood burned. I still have to put a piece up here. I just haven't cut the right angle yet. I actually did need Kyle's help for that one. And this is all done. And then there's the inside. I'll wood burn that back wall as well, so it kind of looks like that. And the bottom, we're gonna have ourselves a little shoe shed. This was my project to help me learn how to build the goat shelter. So I'm pretty excited about that because I've learned a lot. I know what to do different, and I'd rather do it on a project small like this versus a very big project that, you know, has to do with protecting our goats and giving them a dry, safe place to stay. So this is good. This has been a fun project. So Kyle just came over and told me he learned a very valuable lesson today. And he wants to tell you guys all about that lesson. What'd you learn?
Don't trust your wife to close tanks.
Yeah, that's a great lesson. A great lesson. Don't trust me to do anything. That's why I'm building the thing that's crooked and it doesn't matter.
I got wet. Always double check your tanks before you go cutting or plumbing or something. I don't know how that was open. I have no idea.
I don't either. The only thing I can think is we never closed it from when we moved the camper originally.
I closed it. I closed them all down.
Oh.
I don't know. My cut, it was not great in the pipe because as water started coming out, you're kind of like, well, you know, it's coming out. And if I pull, yeah, I don't know. I should have stopped, but I just went ahead and cut it and poured water all over myself and got it in my mouth and everything. It's cool. It's, you can't, you're trying to make me feel better about this.
Honey, you got to keep your mouth shut.
I don't do that. My mouth is hardly ever shut. I love seeing deer tracks randomly. I try to find a good place to stand. You see deer tracks, raccoon tracks, deer M&Ms. Makes me hungry.
All the things.
Well, hey, good job. I love the shoe shack.
Thank you.
We're gonna keep our boots nice and dry, keep them outside, let the snakes live in them. It'll be great.
I told you, you always have to check your shoes before you put them on.
She did tell me that.
You still have to check your shoes before you put them on.
Man, it stinks whenever you guys go on YouTube because then I remember that she did tell me this and it is on footage, so I can't argue with it. Oh, you never told me that. No, she did tell me that. But I am very pleased with it. I love that burnt look. I really think, you know,
that was a lot of fun.
If that holds up as far as, you know, weatherizing it and sealing it and all that stuff, I say we do that with like everything out here.
Hey, I'm okay with that. I have a flamethrower, so I can do a much larger scale.
Yeah, that excites me for the goat shed and our future shed.
It was a good learning process for me. I still have a few things to kind of figure out and tweak. I've got to finish the roof on that, but it was good.
Now we have a place for boots. That's fantastic.
Because you know, that's the most important thing.
Hey, you know, it's all a stepping stone. Every bit of it's in learning so that we can do other important things to get us out here. But obviously we need a place to drain our tanks whenever we fill them up with, you know, water and things. And so my job was to finish out the septic. And I tell you what, guys, I don't know what it is. Shannon, all the jobs she gives me, they're not straightforward. And
they're usually the dirty jobs too.
Yeah, so I took a stab at septic. You guys know how many times I did the septic in the ground before the whole kit and caboodle. Yeah, so take a look at this footage. We had a good time and I might have taken a little bit of a shower.
Kyle might learn things the hard way sometimes.
Yeah, but septic's working. I've gone round and round with the design of the septic and kind of even thought about using those same flexi hoses that we used at KOA. But I thought, man, this is a pretty permanent solution. I'm very familiar with the septic and now I can plumb. That may be a loose term, but you catch my drift. So I thought, well, let's just go ahead and do PVC back here. Now we have everything. I'm gonna use some of those rubber Fernco fittings. I'll kind of show you some of that stuff as we do it. So those right there, this is my black and gray outlet. This is just galley gray. So that's like kitchen sink. And then this obviously black, we know what that is. Gray behind it, that is like the shower and the bathroom sink. So I'm gonna let all of this build up instead of keeping it open. I used to keep that one at KOA open all the time, but out here, especially since we're coming in winter, I'm gonna keep them closed. And then I'm gonna let things build up and we're gonna empty them so not to have a problem with things freezing inside the pipe. However, per usual, we can't just get right into it. On the ends of these are the little fittings with the little nubs on them, and that allows you to spin on the RV flexi hoses. And that way they hold on, they create a watertight seal, and then that's how you would run it to a typical campground. Here, that's gonna be a problem. I can't fit my Fernco 3-inch fitting over these little nubs. So either I cut off the little nubs and this will slip over just fine, or I cut off the whole fixture and replace the fixture later. Either way, neither one of them is gonna do me any good as far as the actual fixture at the end of the pipe. So I'm kind of leaning toward just cutting them off. In fact, if I cut them off, then I'm further back up the pipe, thus getting a little bit more elevation, giving us a little bit better angle down to the septic. So I do have to cut the inlet pipe, and then I may just cut these guys too. I don't know. You know what? I may cut the nubs on this one, because it still has the stopper guy, and then I may just cut this whole fitting off over here. That's what we're doing. I hate doing that.
There's enough pipe here at least that when I go to buy another one of these in the future, I'll still have enough real estate, because I'm not gonna glue up here since I have those rubber fern coes, and they just use that little hose clamp. But I'll tighten this guy down on here, and then I don't have to use any glue, so I don't have to give any of that PVC up. Over there, I kind of like having the stopper. Why do I like having the stopper? I don't really care, do I? It still may be easier to just cut those nubs off. We're gonna think about that one for a minute. Those are the nubs I'm talking about. These little things right here. And that's what, just like this cap, you know, those twist on there. I should be able to cut them off on the other one, or just cut the whole thing off. We're just cutting it off, guys. We're just doing it. I may crawl under here a little bit though. Get a little better angle. Well, apparently somebody has been using the gray tank a little more than I expected. That's in my mouth. Well, if you want a surefire way to gross yourself out, I just did it. Okay, well, don't mind the fact that the microphone's now up here because it's the only dry spot on my shirt, but yeah, make sure the tank's, that's like the quintessential mistakes that you make when you do things like this. I guess it's a little better that it was galley, so it's just gray, and it wasn't power, so it's not deadly. But that's why you kill breakers before you do electrical work. That's why you empty water storage tanks or waste storage tanks before you go cutting on the pipe. Anyway, got the fern coat fitting back on there. We're gonna tighten that guy down. I'm gonna get one on the black and gray. Now what we're gonna do, or what we're gonna try to do, is I'm gonna try to plumb this guy out and down, and I'm gonna try to plumb this guy into it. But I don't know, we're gonna see how this all goes. I'm not salty at all that I'm still soaking wet, not even a little bit. You don't believe me. You shouldn't believe me. But I am pretty happy about it. It's my own fault. Somebody else's fault that they left it open, but it's my fault I didn't check it. Big no-no. Okay, fern coes are on there. So I just cut off that threaded piece over there that I was capping off, and then that is a 4-to-3 rubber fern coe, and then it goes up into that 90, and then that 3-inch goes into it, and then I will go up. And then my goal is to try to run that pipe out of this one out far enough and over, and then tee that one into it. And that way I'll have black and gray going down the pipe first. I'll have galley that I just poured all over myself going in behind it, just kind of do a little bit of extra flush out. Okay, well, I don't know if this is perfect or not, but I got the fern coat here, cut a little 12-inch piece here, everything I needed to connect this up. So basically this will just be water. This won't be solid waste. It would come out and come in behind the black and gray. This is my black and my gray. They both come out of the same hole. You know what just dawned on me? It's my fault that the water sprayed out over there. I don't have a release for that. I have a release for black, I have a release for gray. That one was just that trap door. So in essence, I never technically emptied the galley whenever we went to move the camper. Don't tell Shannon. That's my bad. I'm the reason I'm soaking wet. I'm still happy about it. We're all good. But I think I have proper slope for this to work. I'm not gonna glue any of these fittings together. Even if they leak a little bit, I'll deal with that. I'll cinch them down. But I need to be certain that everything flows properly. So as it sits right now, the camera is technically level. So that's about the pitch that we have downward. You're supposed to have 1/4 of an inch per foot of length. That is about a 11.5, 12-foot run right there. So technically that would be about 1 3/4 or 2. I have more than that. So we should be good, but that is the final product for now. We'll do some testing and I'll let you know how that works out. Poop can flow. I'm a happy man. I need my water.
And he did shower today.
Yeah, I got in the truck to go home. For some reason, Shannon wouldn't let me ride in her car with her last night. I had to drive my truck home and she had to drive her car. But then it kind of made sense when I got about to the end of the driveway and started smelling me. So of course I went back to Grandma and Grandpa, Mom and Dad, told them the story, and they were like, yeah, why don't you go shower before you sit back down? I was like, okay, thanks. So, you know, a little mishap here, 100% my fault. We don't need to talk about it.
Even though he tried to blame it on me.
Yeah, you know, 100% Shannon's fault.
Had no idea what she was doing. She just cut right into that and sprayed herself.
I didn't spray myself.
She sprayed her husband. How
Totally
rude.
my fault.
No, so there we go. We got septic buttoned up. I mean, from the camper down to the underground. As you guys know, we saved a lot of money. That was still here on the land and we found it and it was usable. So we just had to plumb into it. Same story with the well. We didn't have to do the $50,000 option to dig a 650-foot well. We've got a whopping 84-foot well, but it pumps water for the two of us and our animals. It's gonna be good until it's not, right? We'll figure it out. Okay, final pieces. Got electric, we got heat. She's gonna start, we're gonna do the winterization project. We got a lot of projects that are getting ready to start right after this, but let's go get that well pressure figured out.
Perfect.
Are you ready to be done working in this well house for a bit?
I mean, I am, but at the same time, I'm also ready to move on to repairing the well house.
Oh, that's because
But right now, I'm ready to...
because you didn't have to do the water system.
That's true.
I'm ready to be done with this well house for just a little bit. I'm tired of looking at it. I'm tired of being in it. But I am grateful that we have power to it, and now we are drawing water successfully. Shannon and I came out the other night. We had a chance of rain the next day, and we didn't have a tarp big enough to cover the whole well house, so we just thought, you know what? Let's get this stuff in here covered. That way, if some of the water makes it in, it's not going to hit our water system and taint it.
Do you know what you're doing over there?
Yeah, I had some very, very minor, I don't want to call them water leaks, but some of the fittings, the brass fittings, particularly where the brass was going into the galvanized or brass to brass, they were just kind of leaking a tiny bit. And originally, I was going to cut some of the PEX joints and tighten those fittings. I know I wrapped them very well. Very, very well. I mean, that's what I was doing for Rob.
I mean, it was your main job.
That was my main
to sit there
job,
and put
yeah.
Teflon tape around them.
Yeah, and the main job was that and PEX and carrying the heavy stuff. And so I know they're wrapped well, but I got to talking to Rob and a few other, my mom, Ken, and people who have done this before and know what they're doing, or Ken even has a well system like this. And this is all pre-filter. So any fitting that was leaking ever so slightly was before the filter. In other words, the iron, the sediments, everything's still in the water that naturally is going to come up and out of the ground. So I'm going to give it a couple weeks because the idea is that some of that stuff will kind of naturally fill these. Apparently this is a fairly common thing with these types of fittings. So we're going to let her run. I don't want to cut any PEX if I don't have to, but I do have all the fittings and tools that I need if we need to go that route. So right now what I got to do is I pulled the hose off the camper that's providing the freshwater line to the camper, brought it down here, because that's the only one we have out here, and we're going to bleed this system, then we'll kill the power to it, and then I'm going to take this cover off and we're going to adjust the pressures. I'm showing right now about 42 PSI here, and I'm 42 on each of my filters. So we're consistent, the system is working. I think I just need to alter this and potentially even the pre-charge on the tank. We'll talk about that in a minute. Okay, let's get the hose hooked up and bleed this out. I'm going to keep this super short and straight to the point, omitting a lot of detail. The well pump is obviously down at the bottom of the well. This is our pressure tank. There's a bladder in there that has air in it, and when I fill up water around that tank, it puts pressure on it. Well, that pressure pressurizes the system, and then we have a gauge right here. So when I turn on the water, it basically fills this up until that pressure hits 60 PSI. And then it stops, and then we use that water. As water leaves the tank, the PSI is going to drop, the pressure on that tank is going to drop. When it gets down to 40 PSI, it tells that pump to kick back on, fill it back up to 60 PSI, and that's what keeps this guy full and keeps water flowing. But I'll just show you on the pressure gauge here. Right now I've got it full pressure, full water, everything. We've got the hose on, disconnecting water out to the rest of the system. But if I turn this on and bleed the tank, you'll see this pressure drop down to 40. The pump kicks on, fills back up. That's how that process works. All right, so the pressure switch is working correctly. It's cutting in, turning on the pump at 40 PSI, and then it's cutting out, turning off the pump at 60 PSI. What I did have to change was the pre-charge in the tank. So you can change the amount of pressure that's there, and you want that just right below your cut in, which is at 40 PSI. So I pre-charged this to about 38 and a half, and ran the system again. Cut in, cut out, looks good. I'm keeping the pressure. I've got gauges on each of the filters over there. Everything looks good. So we'll take the hose back up there. I want to pull water off of the faucet behind the camper without my broken regulator on it. Make sure I've got more than enough pressure so that when I do get the proper regulator, we can put 50 PSI into the camper. Let's get back up there. So I went ahead and took the regulator out of this equation, and we're up here at the camper.
And I expect to see about the same as we saw down there. That's more than 50 PSI. So we know we are providing that here. I just need a proper regulator to get it into the camper safely so we're not blowing lines. That's all she wrote. So
and that's ordered, and it should be here in the next day or two.
I'm hoping it gets here today. I mean, we're already a day or two behind, but once we get that here, I'll get it in line with the camper. We got the septic down there. We got water going in. Obviously, we have power. It'll just be a matter of putting Herc and Nala in the cars and bringing them out. Very good. Okay, water system's good. Cut in, cut out pressure. We got septic. Shannon built that awesome shoe shack. I think we're in business.
Yeah.
When you're done with that shoe shack, could you make me a generator garage? It doesn't have to be very big, but I'd really like something that I could get this out of the elements, keep it back here, build in an exhaust port. That's all I need, okay? You got that?
That's all I need. I just want this super specific building built for my generator. No big deal.
I would like it.
I think he's trying to get it to where I'm doing all these little projects that are just kind of like, it doesn't really matter if it's not perfect, so that he can actually start building the goat shelter and make it perfect.
What are you wait, you knew that?
Hey, my hair may be blonde, but I figure things out.
Yeah.
Yes, I would love to build you a generator garage.
We're looking at 36 by 48. I would like a powered door. I would like a roof. We would definitely like some vaulted ceilings over the center. I'd like it to be mobile, and I definitely need an exhaust port for the backside of the generator. Okay?
I'm on it.
And you know what? Could you make me a fuel hole on the top so I don't have to take it out to fuel it?
Yeah, I will refer back to this video whenever it comes time to build your generator
It's
garage.
gonna be a sweet generator garage. Almost there. I smell a night stay here in the near future. Maybe we should go live or something.
Yeah.
Would you go live on our first night?
Yeah, why not?
What do you guys think? Should we go live on our first night out here? Do like an evening? We'll build a fire. Shannon's already got some cute ideas for. Yeah, that's what we'll do. Let's go live. Let's
Sounds
shoot
great.
for. Oh, I'm not giving a date. Not doing it.
That's too much pressure, isn't it?
Yeah, well, what if the pressure regulator doesn't come in? Then that's on me. Okay, I know this is a lot of nerdy well details, and I'm really sorry, guys, but
I'm gonna try to simplify it and edit as much as possible.
Yeah, I don't really know how to get through this part without being a little bit technical because it's kind of some technical stuff. I omitted a lot of stuff, I promise. Go Google it, you'll find out.
I'm not sure I still understand.
That's okay, you got me. Now you just gotta keep me around.
Yeah, you're not going anywhere.
Boom! You heard it, that's love and commitment.
And a water system.
She's using me, people, she's using me. Hey, well, we are that much closer, guys. We can now get water into the camper. We can now get water and solids out of the camper, power, take our boots off without tracking dirt in the house, the camper. We're sitting pretty. This is coming along. Well, once we get the rest of this stuff, like I said, we will go live if you guys want us to. If you don't, sorry, too bad. We're going live. Sort of kidding. Yeah. No, we'll get you out here the night that we're out here. Hey, we appreciate you guys so much. Thank you again for all the kind birthday wishes and gratitude you showed Rob for him coming out, Ken helping getting this thing leveled and all that stuff. Dad, it's just, you guys are a great support team, and I love the community between the viewers and the people in our lives. We are so blessed. We love you guys. We appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming by. And as always, we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.
It's something about this right eye. That's my sneeze eye. If the sun comes in on this right eye, boom, I'm sneezing. So I just gotta keep it closed.
Just go like this.
Go like this. How do I look now? Does this look very official, like I have a secret to tell you? Kind of? Maybe? A little?
What's your secret?
My secret is